Support. Aye.
Just coming with. Hi. Christine Carlson. I had applied for the Board of Directors Lifeways position back in February, and it's my understanding that that position is still available, and I'm coming to say that I'm still interested in that position, and wondering what I can do to get on that board, fill that seat for the board.
Ma'am, we don't answer questions
Right.
here. You'll have to speak to the administrator's office afterwards.
Okay, and I was just told to say that I was just still very interested and wanted to all to let you know that. Thank you.
Enter your name. You didn't,
I did sign in.
okay.
I have a copy of my resume, so if you would need that as well, I can leave it on.
So moved. Aye.
Good afternoon. So I have before you this month's report. It is a brief report. You'll probably notice that that's a short one this month. But pretty much the items that I'd just like to keep the board appraised, the County Commissioner Board appraised about is where we are with our strategic plan. And there's been a lot of work, and a lot of work that is occurring and will be occurring over the course of this year relative to the development of the 24/7 crisis services on site at Lifeways here in Jackson. And we have been partnering with other community mental health that are also in the process of developing them. The most recent activity is that we did have a meeting, since I reported to the County Commission last month, with law enforcement to have a discussion about what it is they would need to make sure that as we design the ability to accept individuals from law enforcement directly, both from the city and from our local jails, that it would allow, that we're designing it in such a way that it meets their needs. And we had a great meeting this past week and feel like we not only know what their needs are, but also have the support of them as we move that forward. They would be happy to have another alternative than the emergency room to take somebody. So that is underway. The other initiative, as we talk about the redesign of the building, is bringing in the primary care, and we are doing that in partnership with the FQHC, which we already have a partnership with, but it's really designing that work and moving forward with them. The other thing that's included in your packet, and it's probably I've talked a lot with you about the funding and the waivers of the community mental health system and how that works. This diagram that's in your packet is probably, this came from our association. If you're at all interested in what all that means, because we have 5 different waivers, and where is the state going with the waivers, and what will those waivers entail as it relates to types of services, this is probably the best thing that our association has ever released, in my opinion. It's pretty self-explanatory, defining where we are currently, where we're going, and what the changes are, and what does that mean relative to service delivery. So take a minute. The one thing that was pointed out from Dr. Tompkins was the fact that the association released this, and there is a lot of acronyms. And they should have also included a little crosswalk for you. Because with the exception of those of us that are in the system and know what they are, many people would not even know what they're referring to, probably. It was a lot. So I will include that moving forward for you, and I appreciate pointing that out. Are there any questions of any of the county commissioners? Mm-hmm. Oh, yes, I will. Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Maybe you could take a second and explain to the commissioners, like what you explained to me with the health plan, okay, for the people, and then taking that away and going to Medicaid, how it's going to decrease your payment?
So what's going to happen relative to the current proposal here is that they are going to be consolidating one of the waivers. They're going to be shifting, which is the majority of the people that we serve. They're going to be shifting them from a B3 service waiver from the Center for Medicaid, and they're going to be shifting them into an 1115 I waiver. And what that will entail, and what the concern is from the community mental health perspective, is that this new shift will require, instead of the eligibility being determined at the level of the community mental health, it will be shifted to the level of the state for about 3,000 or 30,000 to 50,000 individuals. And the challenge with that is that's going to be an additional administrative cost to the system, not only at a local level, because now you're going to have additional hoops you have to go through in order to get somebody access to services, and that's a cost associated with that, as well as at the state level. I mean, stay tuned. We do have our conference actually starting today. I'm anxious to hear what the state's plans are. They initially had indicated that they would have all of this in play by October. And it's a little overwhelming to think that they would have that in play by October. So there's a lot of work behind the scenes that has to occur. But that would have an impact on the funding to the community mental health, because you're going to have a higher administrative load across the system.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions for Mary Beth? Thank you, Mary Beth.
Yep, thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. So I'm just going to go through a few highlights in the report that I sent you, starting with the highlights from March's financials. So financials from March showed a net gain of $21,406. This was below budget by $121,817. And if you recall from last month, we had proposed a budget amendment that went into effect for April's financials, and that was voted on and approved by the DHHS board on May 20th. So for April's financials, we based that off of the new budget. which changed our budgeted census from 185 to 181. And it also adjusted the case mix to be more Medicare heavy. So that's a higher payer source for the facility. So for April, financials showed a net gain of $41,758, which was better than budget by $38,022. And our average census for the month of April was 183.2. We don't have the financials for May yet, so we're still working on that. There's several graphs in there showing the admissions and discharges that we've had throughout the year, but the highlight of that is 2019 year-to-date, we've had 196 admissions and 173 discharges. So that's a lot of people coming and going from our community. On March 31st, M&A, who is our RN union, their contract expired. We continued negotiations through mediation, and we do have a tentative agreement as of today. May 6th through the 12th, we celebrated National Nurses Week with a little meal for our nurses and a t-shirt to let them know how much we appreciate them and all the hard work that they do. And then May 13th through the 18th was National Skilled Nursing Care Week, and we had our annual talent show along with our annual CNA relay race that we hold every year, which was very exciting and for everybody involved. We do have two grievances that have gone to arbitration for M&A. Those are expected to be heard in September, and none for either of our other two unions, 2098A or 139. Okay. I did leave some data in there for you guys about our new care partners that we've been able to bring aboard. We have stopped hiring CNAs at this time because all of our CNAs positions are filled. We are still looking for some nurses to give us a little extra cushion with our nursing team. And so as of May, we had 5 new care partners, and 3 of those were nurses. We're currently ranked as a 3-star facility with 3 stars in quality. In the past, we have been 5 stars in quality. Part of that change has been that the 5-star system has been recalibrated because there was too many homes in the nation that were doing too well. So they've raised the bar, and that's a good thing. But as such, it makes us look like our quality is lower. We're still maintaining the same level of quality as we have in the past. We just have to up our game to that new raised bar level. And we do continue to be a 5-star in both of the staffing components of the 5-star rating system. We did have a state surveyor on site in March to review one facility reported incident. They had no concerns and there was no citations involved in that. I also left a list of different quality projects that we do on a monthly basis and audits that we look at, just to kind of give you a little bit of background information on the things that we do. And then we're also working with our team to prepare for a change in the payment system for Medicare. Starting October 1st, they're moving from what we call RUGs, which is the way that they group residents that receive Medicare payments now, to a system called the Patient-Driven Payment Model, or PDPM, which is going to look more at the overall acuity of a resident rather than just their therapy needs. So we anticipate that that will be a good change for us as a medical care facility, because we do take more acute people that are not necessarily the highest scoring when it comes to their therapy needs. So we anticipate that that will be helpful come October 1st. Any questions for me at all? Yes, sir.
You mentioned 2 grievances that are moving forward to arbitration.
Yes.
Can you give some details on them? Are you aware of the situations?
Yes. One of them involved a nurse who didn't follow through completely on an admissions paperwork, resulting in some concern on resident care. There was a suspension involved, and the union is going to arbitration to against the suspension. They don't believe that it should arose to that level.
So they're seeking lost wages, I would
Yes,
assume?
yeah.
Okay. And the other one?
The other one is in regards to a nurse who was off due to a confirmed case of influenza. We have a policy that allows all of our care partners to request a leave of absence, and that particular individual didn't believe that they needed a leave of absence, and so when it was offered, they turned it down. And as such, they were asked to make up the weekend after their absence as per our policy. So the union is grieving that we have asked them to work that weekend. They were given the LOA subsequent to the grievance. We gave that to them anyway, but we can't take back the fact that we already had them work that weekend.
So there's no financial concern on that one? It's
No.
just, all right.
No. Yep.
Thanks.
So including our admin nurses, which is what the state uses as an indicator, we typically have, let's see, I've got to do a little math because I don't have it. So floor nurses to patients, on day shift, you would have 2 to 3 per neighborhood, which is about 50 residents. Now, we do have a neighborhood manager that also oversees that area and several administrative nurses that also help assist in oversight in those areas. And then on night shift, there's 1 nurse per neighborhood. 50 for 3 of our neighborhoods. One of our neighborhoods is 28, and the other neighborhood is 16. Well, and that's one of the things that we're actively looking at. What are the tools that we need to take those critically ill patients? The residents that we're caring for right now, we're able to meet those needs with those ratios, but we have been looking at trying to get some more consistency with a higher ratio as we head into October, knowing that the potential for more acute patients is coming. You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, next is Finance, Child Care Fund Budget Amendment.
Good afternoon. Child Care Fund requested a budget amendment because there's been a unexpected but significant reduction in their Title I-D funding for the 2018-2019 school year. And that reduction is about $48,900. So with that reduction in funding, they're planning to reduce a full-time position and make it a part-time position, which will also reduce the benefits associated with the full-time. So, is there any questions?
Any questions? I guess we need to vote on this and send it to the full board. So, all in favor? Opposed? Okay, is that it?
Yep,
Thank
that's
you.
it. Thank you.
Department on Aging, Marcy.
So good afternoon. In the Department on Aging monthly report, I include as an attachment the 2018 annual report that gives the numbers and descriptions of the different programs that are offered by the Department on Aging. And then related to those numbers, I wanted to show you some outcome information, meaning the surveys that we do to find out how are we helping people. And the Department on Aging Services are part of the strategic plan for the board that is healthy community by keeping people active and engaged, good nutrition, providing services in their home. It helps them maintain a healthy lifestyle. And our two primary components are senior sites and home services. So with our senior site, that includes a meal at noon, and a couple days a week, people can also take home a cold meal for supper. Exercise classes, a lot of different classes at our various sites, opportunities to volunteer. And then of the people surveyed, 97% reported that they have a good health and life satisfaction because they're participating in the different activities. And we have health classes that are offered through MSU Extension, and one participant said that they have a lot of health issues, and the health classes have been great. And then for the nutrition side of the senior sites, 96% surveyed reported that they appreciated, and the socialization helps them live independently, and the 97% said the nutrition helps them. And one of the survey comments, just they appreciate having a place to go, to be with other people, gets them up and dressed and around for the day, so that they don't sit around at home anymore. Case coordination, and what this is an initial home visit with a social worker with an older adult who's requested Meals on Wheels or light house cleaning or bathing assistance or respite. So the social worker will talk with them about their situation, and then, this is a requirement for our grant-funded services, but also the social worker connects them with other services in the community that they might benefit from. And then every 6 months, if they continue to be one of our clients, then the social worker goes back out and talks with each person. And once they receive this information about, what are my options, what services are out there, they've all said it's been helpful. Meals on Wheels, 1,100 homebound seniors in 2018, over 264,000 meals, averages just over 1,000 meals a day. And that would be a hot meal for the midday meal, a cold meal for the evening meal, and then frozen meals for the weekend, so up to 14 meals. And this year, one gentleman said that he sent us a note that when his wife passed away, he lost 40 pounds. He didn't know how to cook, and when he tried, he kind of burned things. And he's diabetic and has to be careful what he eats. So your meals have changed my life. And 97% attribute the Meals on Wheels as assisting them with proper nutrition and their ability to live independently. And for home care, which is light house cleaning, bathing assistance, that they say this helps me live independently at home. To not have to bend over and clean the bathtub or mop the floors or vacuum. That people who are more frail, that's difficult for them to do. And a daughter recently called and said she appreciated the home care services, and that she appreciated our meal transporters touching base with her dad, making sure he's okay, and that they're very friendly and so nice to him. Caregiver support, that's a program where the social worker talks with family members or friends who are caring for someone around the clock. And again, connecting them with what services are available in the community. Maybe have them start receiving respite services through the Department on Aging. And they all, those surveyed said that it helped decrease their level of stress in caregiving by having this information. And then we have a component of respite where it provides services and support for those caring for someone living with memory loss or dementia, such as Alzheimer's. And again, that it helps them better cope with their caregiving. And then counseling, that's grant and senior millage funded. All these programs are grant and senior millage funded. And they report being better able to cope with their life circumstances as a result of counseling. And one person said that my son arranged for this, and she was kind of reluctant, but that she's benefited a lot from the short-term counseling. So that's a real quick overview of the survey results we received in 2018. So are there any questions about current services or our report for 2018?
Yes, how many meal sites do you have?
So we have 6 meal sites where people go and the hot meal is served, and then we have 2 sites where they do their own scheduling and programming, and we drop off a hot meal that's in an individual container. So there's 8 sites.
Oh, 8 sites, okay. And then do you keep like a regular attendance at all at the hot meal sites?
We have
I guess my question would be, was just more, do you have what are your numbers like at those particular programs?
I can bring a list of the different sites and the average attendance for the last few months.
Thank you.
Off the top of my head, I can't remember, but yeah. Part of our documentation for grants is everybody signs a sheet to say they were there for the meal. And so from those sheets, we do have a record of how many people were there each day.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Any other questions? Okay, Marcy, thank you for a
Okay.
great presentation. It looks like you're doing a good job in our elders in the community. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Next is Health Department. I don't think there's anybody here, so we'll put that one off till next time. And we have the claims. Motion to... Any questions? All in favor? Any other minutes? Any public comment? Any committee members' comments? Okay, we're adjourned.